Gosling. Welcome to the program. Let's start with the level. How significant is this that more than 50 global and Arab trade unions from different continents unite to condemn the Israeli actions in Gaza as a systematic extermination?
Yeah, extermination, genocide, these are all war crimes. I mean, it's significant, but I can tell you there are thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of civil society groups of various sorts. Ones which are actually democratic, unlike our political parties, where it's the elected people who decide the policies, not the members of those parties. And so you have to understand, for example, in the British trade union movement, which is democratic, pretty much, there are hundreds of thousands more people part of that movement than there are of the political parties which are supposed to represent us. So this is significant in that these are the groups which are genuinely reflecting the views of their members, unlike the hijacked political parties, both of which in Britain here, issue after issue after issue, agree on everything. It's just a question of the extent. So there is no real opposition in the Houses of Parliament anymore. But you're talking about the situation over in Gaza. I think one figure really dominates all of this, of course, and that's Benjamin Netanyahu. His quest for political survival. I see he's just been. We've over the last couple of days, we've come to realise that the main object of Donald Trump is to support him politically, and he's saying, well, we have to make sure that Netanyahu doesn't go on trial. Well, who is Trump to say that there should be no rule of law in Israel? Because the Prime Minister is a criminal. We all know that. But isn't it, I think, fascinating to hear this on the world stage being declared by the US president that the main priority is that he gets a get out of jail free card for Netanyahu. And so we can see what's going on here. This is nothing to do with democracy. It's all to do with favors for friends. It's a kind of mafia. And if you probably may have seen, some of your viewers may have seen the BB Files documentary, which details the extent to which, for example, Sarah Netanyahu has a lot of political power. Nobody elected her. And it looks at the extent to which the rot has set in at the very top of Israeli society. So it's now become not a democracy at all, just as simply a corrupt dictatorship, virtually.
Definitely. Mr. Gosling, you mentioned that Trump supports Netanyahu politically speaking. There are also reports that a Gaza ceasefire could happen as early as next week, with Donald Trump pressing, which is not the right use of vocabulary here, for for a ceasefire in Gaza. But given the history where both Donald Trump and Netanyahu usually deceive the other side, how should we look at this one? And secondly, how do you think Iran fits into this picture?
Well, look, obviously Iran is one of the main targets for regime change. But I think Trump, we have to. He's still in an early stage in his presidency, and I don't think he's quite as under control of the deep state and the mafia as Biden was. And so it may be that he has got some leverage with the Israelis to call for a ceasefire in Gaza. Remember, of course, that he is the man who could always discipline Israel by cutting off the $30 billion a year that's going from the United States. A threat to cut that off would immediately mean a ceasefire in Gaza, and so he could do it any time he wants. It seems a little bit strange that he hasn't done that. But the thing is, as you were saying earlier, the atrocity after atrocity, particularly in Gaza, the West Bank too, is so. I mean, this is not going down very well here in Britain. In fact, it's almost causing not a civil war, but a complete confrontation between the elected government and the people all over the place. So all over the news the last few days has been the massive music festival down in Somerset, not far from where I am, and hundreds of thousands of people there are all on the side of the Palestinians. we've got time and time again civil society groups, demonstrations all over the country, millions even involved in those, are all on the side of the Palestinians. They want to see some humanity from Israel. They're not trying to be partial. They're very one-sided pro-Palestine, but the government is pro-Israel. So what can you do in that sort of situation? The government's lost the arguments. The Israeli has lost the arguments amongst the British public. You've got something like 75–80% of people 100% behind the Palestinians. The government's lost the argument. So what's it doing? It's trying to ban peaceful groups who are taking action in support of Palestine. Non-violent direct action is a tradition which I come from, actually. And the idea is you go in and you don't hurt anybody, but what you do is you disable a weapon which is being used for genocide or by a fascist dictator to murder innocent people. And that's been going on in Britain here for decades. Now, the Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, who, by the way, takes more than any other members of the cabinet money from the Israel lobby, she is trying now to ban Palestine Action in Britain. And everyone is really shocked and horrified to see this, because they haven't banned the Satanist neo-Nazi group, the Order of the Nine Angles, and they haven't banned the terrorist group which is convicted of violent assaults against people, the Jewish Defence League. They're not banned. But a peaceful group, non-violent direct action group, Palestine Action, is being banned apparently this week, if they could get away with it. The trouble is they're getting really desperate, because if these people do go to court, the chances are that juries will find them innocent. So the government is setting itself against its own population to support genocide, and this is not going to end well here in Britain.
Tony Gosling, historian and investigative journalist, joining us from Bristol. Thank you for your time tonight.